What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kind of Funny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer slash seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Welcome to the crew neck sweatshirt club, Greg. Finally, there's another one of us in it.
I've been in it a long time, man. Remember, Joey was like, since you're both wearing them now, do you want to make Kind of Funny sweatshirts? And we said, yeah. And then they were tan. And she's like, we're never making another crew neck sweatshirt again. And that was it. They just disappeared.
Same skin color as me. And when I walked out, people thought it was shirtless, which gave me anxiety.
I'm telling her to bring it back. You know what I mean? Well, also, where is Joey? She's been in LA for like 19 years.
She just popped in our Discord today while I was playing Resident Evil. She popped in because she, like most human beings, when you hear the name Olivia Rodrigo pop up, you go, "Oh, I need to talk about this." And so Joey popped into the Discord to just sort of discuss with us the rise to fame and stardom.
Huge. One day, nowhere. Next day, everywhere. Park, everywhere. I texted Joey. Joey and I text all the time. First off, we're buddies, and we text about stuff that we think each other would like. And so she texted me the other day about this movie Plan B on Hulu. She said, "I think you and D would like that." So we queued it up. We're gonna watch it this weekend.
Here's my problem with Plan B on Hulu is that it seems to have the exact same premise as Unpregnant.
Oh,
so like, why? Well, who's fucking ripping who off, and why did Unpregnant beat this to the market?
What is even Unpregnant?
It's the Unpregnant is a girl gets pregnant, and she is in a state that doesn't allow abortion, so she has to go to her childhood best friend and drive her across the state lines. It's on HBO Max right now.
Yeah, this one I think is about. Well, first off, that sounds awesome. I should watch that. But second off, this one's about finding Plan B, which is not getting pregnant.
Oh, totally wait, now I'm coming around. Then now you got me. Now you got me sold. Because anytime we got.
If you read the synopsis,
after a regrettable sexual encounter, a straight-laced student and her best friend have 24 hours to hunt down Plan B in South Dakota. Yeah. Meanwhile, Unpregnant, by the way, is a pregnant teen and her former best friend embark on a life-changing road trip from Missouri to New Mexico.
Did you watch it just because of the Missouri ties? Is that why?
I did, actually. That was a big part of it. And then I liked the girl who is the pregnant girl in it. I knew her from something else that I enjoyed, and I enjoyed the movie. It's got a 6.3 on IMDb, which seems super low, but a 90 on Rotten Tomatoes. Meanwhile, Plan B 6.5 on IMDb, a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
So Joey said it gave her massive, a major like Booksmart vibes.
Booksmart. I saw,
and I'm like, I loved Booksmart, so I'm totally down for that kind of a comedy.
Here's what I want you to know, Nick.
And then
I did little to no research on this. All right, I had seen Plan B, and I already made my protest sign that I was going to go down to the old Plan B and say, I'm against Plan B. I'm against Plan B. Because I'm an Unpregnant fan. Yeah, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm pro Unpregnant, but not Plan B. And you just stopped me from going to that protest I found out on Facebook. So I want you just turned it around. I'm going to go down there and talk to the people. There's a whole anti-Plan B group that I'm a part of on Facebook. I'm going to go back in there and be like, guys, listen, it turns out it's not the same as Unpregnant.
Those groups I think that Facebook group that's anti-Plan B might be a different, against a different kind of Plan B.
Yeah, you don't want
really?
Yeah.
Their banner did not look like the movie.
The amount of times that, you're with friends and you're like, hey, let's get some dinner. You want to like throw in? Like, yeah, let's pitch in or whatever. The amount of times that's happened with Plan B.
Okay.
Quite a bit for me, honestly. Like just a lot of like,
I'm sorry.
Hey, so like, and then her being like, no, I'll pay for it, and be like, no, like I'll pay for it. And I'm like, all right, let's go in together.
Okay.
Yeah. No, not with me and a bunch of friends throwing in for Plan B for our friends.
I thought you had a group of friends that were like, oh, Tim, freaking Danny needs Plan B again.
No.
We all got to pitch in $5 to get to Danny some Plan. I was gonna say Timmy, but Timmy, I'm like, wait, we have a friend named Tim. We can't use that.
Let's use a fake name. T. Gettys. No, that doesn't work. Tim G.
Teddy Gettys.
Tim G needed Plan B.
To avoid the awkwardness, because you know how it is. Like when you're a young kid, you're gonna have sex and you want to go buy condoms. And you're like you're kind of nervous, and it's like they know that you're gonna put a wiener inside something, right? Like they know the person knows at the counter. And the same thing with Plan B. That's why we chose to do the drive-through so many times. You just do a little drive-through Plan B, beep-a-da-boppity boopity boop.
Do you do this thing that you do sometimes though, in like in the movies where you have to get a bunch, like you're like, okay, in the drive-through, and they're like, oh, what would you want? You're like, yeah, can I get some Takis?
And Takis, hot Cheetos, Mountain Dew. If you have Plan B, that'd be great. If I get an iced coffee, hemorrhoids cream.
Yeah,
we'll do Plan B. And what's up with that? With Mountain Dew Amp? Do you have the newer blue one? No, okay, I'll take the green one. I'll take the green one.
So what was that third thing again? What was that third thing that you wanted?
Yeah, that's what happened. Oh, look, I'm
was
in
this a common thing for you guys?
I'm in a
Plan B video. No, I never got laid, so it was.
I mean, like not you, but like your friend groups. Like for me, Plan B, I think me and anyone I know, there's one story I have. It's not a story. She took it. It was done.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'm over exaggerating, but when I was with one of my first serious girlfriends, I'd say about like, I don't know, in the span of us dating for maybe 2 years, about like 5 times. About 5 times we got that Plan B pill.
No, was
that's
that
rough
like,
on the cycle? You got to be.
Yeah, it's gonna be brutal for her.
Wrap it up
for sure.
Andy.
For you, definitely was for sure. Oh, trust me, Greg. The suggestions were there. Recommendations were there. You know, don't put this all on me, Greg. All right. I know you're kind of like demonizing me as the guy that like I don't want to fucking wear a condom. No.
Like, well, I'm sorry. I didn't. You're not. I'm not the guy who had a fucking Pez dispenser full of Plan B next to my bed and just giving it out. You know what I mean?
You got a Pez dispenser and a fucking lube dispenser, and they're right next to each other.
Down Mountain Dew.
Never in my bed.
Never changed.
Never in my bed.
See, I always, anytime I had sex, I always welcomed the condom because it helped me just last like at least 10 more seconds so that I could not feel completely dejected when I disappointed my partner.
Just so we know.
It was like, I'm like,
Plan B have you used in your life?
I'm not comfortable with where we're going.
Kevin, you don't have to answer the question.
You don't have to answer the question, Kevin. It's just putting it out there.
Don't need to act uncomfortable about it because then it makes it weird.
Yeah.
No,
I
mean,
it's
just
Nick
people
talking about
Plan
B, and there's people who own fucking stock in the company like Andy.
Nick using condoms to last longer, like it just makes.
Well, that's just the idea of like, hold on, babe. Uncomfortable.
I'm gonna 100%. That's what I was trying to.
Incredibly intimate question of your life. No, yeah. For context, yeah, I know that was always like when they literally. I remember having sex the first time, and then I remember all those times that people said they don't like to use condoms because it desensitizes things.
Sure, and you were like, "Oh, this is a plus for me."
I was like, "How many can I put on? Can I put on like 3 or 4 of these things? Can I put a couple on my balls just in case?" Like it was.
I remember
back balls
getting a. Jesus Christ.
never gonna end.
I remember getting a brand of some condom, and it feeling like a rug burn, you know, like you're
fire and ice
fighting with your friends, like you're fucking around with your older brothers wrestling you, and you get like a rug burn on your knee, like like nothing that severe, obviously.
Were you wearing a ribbed one reverse? Was that the problem? Then because then it's like rather than pleasuring her, you got teeth on your shoulder.
Oh no, definitely wasn't that. But there, I mean, trust me, the amount of paranoia that went through my brain of like, am I doing this forward or backwards?
Oh sure.
Right now? Oh, is this? Know. Which way is up? You know, who's on first? What's on second?
That moment of like when you get the condom open, and then you're like, "Fuck, wait, which way do I roll it?"
You know, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
You're so excited, and you're like, "I didn't pay attention," and then it's dark, and you kind of unroll it. You put it on, you're like, "Maybe that was the wrong way," but do I flip it around now because there's some stuff maybe
it's the wrong way? Is there residue on this?
Yeah,
I'm still stuck on Greg talking about teeth on the condoms. Like
you understand it though. You vision it right now.
I do, but like even if you did put it the other way, like I don't think they would ever make something this. Yeah, it's not gonna hurt the man.
It doesn't like you can't take a light smooth ripple and turn it into fucking Jaws by flipping the thing.
I'm just saying there's a million little bumps on it. You know what I mean?
That's those are different. Those aren't the rib ones. Those are the ones that like you're doing some crazy shit if it got little bumps on it.
Well, isn't that rib for her pleasure? That's what is the ribs just got like the rings on it?
I thought so. I mean, I've only used one of those like one time.
Some of them do have bumps.
Looking like
Greg's right.
Do they have the bumps? Okay.
Some of them have little dimples on them, reverse dimples.
Okay, that's cool. That sounds cool.
I guess it's reverse dimples a bump. I could.
I will say, don't ever use, if you're out there still slinging it, don't ever use the ones that have the lubrication inside that desensitizes. I made that mistake once, and my entire crotch area was numb for like a day. I'm not even.
But now this is kind of a what would you rather situation. Would you rather have the numb crotch for the day, or did you want to last longer?
No. You don't understand. I put the condom on, and immediately it started making. There was a feeling across the board, and I was like, no, it was the opposite.
I can't feel up to my torso.
Dude, I was like,
guys, I've been bitten by a snake.
And it was the equivalent to like a hose deflating immediately. It was just like, we're good. This is okay. And now we're just knocking a limp wrist against the wall.
Sure.
It was bad. And I've never been more embarrassed in my entire life than as a young man being like, I don't I can't figure out what just happened to me. And then I realized
desensitized.
It literally desensitized it so much that I couldn't feel anything. And I just completely lost it. I was like, well, how about you want to watch some Netflix or some TV? It wasn't even Netflix. Netflix didn't even exist back then. It was like, let's turn on HBO.
I got Blockbuster
VHS tapes downstairs.
Look, I read Redbox super bad. I read Box super bad over here. If you want to watch that on Blu-ray. Oh, you don't have Blu-ray? Fuck.
You only got HD DVD. You got that connection for your Xbox. That's fucked up, man. But if you want to watch King Kong, I guess you got King Kong. We can watch King Kong.
King Kong. What a movie. What a long movie.
How about that Mare of Easttown? Let's talk about that.
She just finished that and she loved it. She said, "I
what the fucking show? Are you kidding me?"
Good
out there?
show.
Kate Winslet killing it. HBO killing it as always.
Guys,
I will say this about.
Wait, hold on. Sorry. Kevin's trying to stop us. What's wrong?
I am on the last episodes. I'm 20 minutes in. So if we.
Kevin, it turns out Kate Winslet's the killer. Kate Winslet is the one that kills everyone.
But don't do that because that's like a fake spoiler that you're like. I don't want that
Kate Winslet.
Don't pull Eric Hart. My buddy Eric Hart used to do this all the time. We're like, well, now I know that Kate Winslet doesn't kill the guy. I'm like,
that's not what I'm pulling. That's not what I'm pulling.
Eric Hart is such a fucking dweeb, and I'm glad you dropped him.
Nick shouldn't play the spoiler game. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying here.
Oh my God.
I'm all about that. Is Andy recommended it, and as you know, if Andy says watch it, I turn it on and I watch it. With the exception of that one show.
That's not true.
The exception of
the one show. You never watched True Detective.
You don't watch anything.
Andy. That was the one exception.
I've only watched Ozarks. Over and over.
It's a great movie, guys. Great show.
You got to watch it more than 10 times to get the nuance. Great movie.
Movie Ozarks.
Great 2-season show movie.
Nick can't even watch it because it's too scary for him.
Ozark?
Yeah.
It's scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
He watches it and I walk in. I'm like, I don't like this. This is scary. There's people hunting him and chasing. It's that Breaking Bad thing. It just gives you anxiety. Like you're
much.
At any point, you're going to walk out and someone's going to clip you. I can't do it.
Kevin, I will say that now that you are almost done with Mare of Easttown, which is on HBO Max.
You have access to it.
It's really, really good. Mare, she's a detective, and can she figure out the murder while figuring out herself? Sort of thing. It's
while we're here, just to bring it full circle, you want to talk about a town that could have used some Plan B. Jesus Christ. Pregnant having babies in this town.
So true. Start dropping that shit from a plane above. You know what I mean?
So true. I don't know what the hell that means.
Just out there with your morning cup of coffee and this little box of Plan B comes down parachuting in. Fucking Nick Scarpino's UNICEF.
Hold on. I was imagining how airplanes would put out fires, I was picturing the powder just sort of falls over the town.
If you've had unprotected sex in the last 14 days, come outside now.
Open your mouth and look up.
Breathe deep.
Stand in the
dolphins.
God, but Kevin, what I will say though is I think now that you're almost done with Mare of Easttown, it's a very, very good show. Enjoyed it. I would really like to see the True Detective thing happen because this is sort of a good kind of holdover for anybody who's been itching for more True Detective. We all know that we didn't love season 2, but then Mahershala came out in season 3 and we're kind of worried, right? We're kind of trepidatious. Is Mahershala Ali going to pull it through? And he fucking knocked it out of the park. Grand slam. Him and homeboy. What's his face?
Oh God.
Stephen Dorff.
Stephen Dorff.
Yeah, Dorff.
The Dorff was fantastic in True Detective season 3. So Kevin, I really want to recommend you
with tape. Here's the thing. I have tried multiple times. It really, at this point, it's just Paula hasn't been in the mood for it. And I think that this show hit in the perfect moment where she was like, all right, let's watch a detective show. And we started watching. It also helped that her sister was like, you guys got to watch this. And we sat down, watched the first 3 episodes, one sitting. And then yesterday we got through the other 3 and a little bit more.
Yeah. I will say I watched the first episode of Mare of Eastwood. It didn't vibe with me, so I'm probably not going to watch the rest of it. But it is not nearly as intense as True Detective season 1. So if that was what Paula can take, and she doesn't want more intensity than that, maybe you just got to watch the first season by yourself.
Kevin, let me just tell you this.
No, I think she's down. It's just a matter of the timing has to be right.
Timing, yeah.
Kevin, let me just tell you this, okay? Episode something in True Detective, a 6-minute continuous one shot.
Fucking dope.
And it is
so dope.
Masterful. Holy shit. You kind of realize it 3 minutes in, wait, there hasn't been a cut yet. And it keeps going. And it keeps going. And then 4 minutes in, you're like, wow, they're really doing this.
No,
you get to the 6-minute mark. surely this will end any day now, and it does end, and it's fucking so good. Oh, I need to rewatch season 1.
It's really well done.
As you know, the internet brings out bad stuff every day and brings out bad people and bad opinions and everything else. But the internet gave me a gift that I haven't opened all the way yet, but I'm excited for, and that's that love Mare of Easttown. Right? It was destination viewing here on Sunday as we built up to finding out the dog killed everybody. But what I loved about it was,
Greg, don't do the spoiler game.
I'm recording. Nicholas, you're making fun of me now, and I won't have it.
You're making
Understood? I won't have it.
Actually, I think I was making Kev. To be fair, I was making fun of Tim on that one, but that's fine.
Well, I think you're making fun of Eric, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's fair. Can it be more than one person at the same time with one joke?
Here's the thing: is that was somebody put out a tweet, and I'm gone. They're gone. It's gone forever. But it was somebody in our circles of not friends but peers, in the video game world, put out a thing of like, hey, if you're in love with Mare of Easttown now, the guy who made it also made The Way Back with Ben Affleck. So, and if you like this, you will like that, because that is a movie that plays on genre tropes and yada yada yada. Because The Way Back is the one with Janina, number one.
Yeah,
who's
a fantastic basketball coach, right?
I saw the trailers for it. It's like, okay, yeah, Ben Affleck's recovering alcoholic. He fucked up his life, and now he's going to coach this basketball team. And it's whatever, boring. And then, but that to know it's from the people who did Mare of Easttown, or the guy Brad Inglesby who did Mare of Easttown, and then it turns out that it actually plays with the tropes that turned me off to it. I'm all about it. It reminds me a lot of a film called Unbreakable that I never knew was about superheroes, and then once I found out, I went and watched it. And I love that.
But you can't do that. You like Jim Carrey because of Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura? Check him out in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
This isn't an actor. This is from the creator. They literally, like, if you like the small town politics and interconnected genre.
No, but I like fucking murder mysteries.
Mm-hmm. I don't. Well, mate, how do you know that Ben Affleck's movie?
Yeah, we don't know what's fucking going on in The Way Back. We didn't watch it. Our friend Janina's in it. She's like, "Please watch my movie." We're like, "We sure will," and then we fucked off.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen the trailer. Like, I know that it's not a murder mystery. It's a guy dealing with his own. He's a drunk basketball coach. Like, that comparison isn't 1-to-1. We can't be doing that. We're being way too reckless right now, everybody. We need to.
I'm telling you right now. I think we all need to watch all of the Mare of Clint Eastwood,
Easttown,
and then we'll watch, and then we'll watch the basketball one, and we'll compare and contrast. We'll see which one's better.
Is that hard, Andy? You know what I mean?
Review series.
Why not?
Tim, am I wrong here though?
This Brad guy's done a bunch of stuff.
Andy, I feel like you're not right, or at least you're not expressing your point in a clear way that I can side with you, because I feel like it'd be like talking about an artist and like two of their bodies of work would be completely different, but it's like, but you still like their vision. Like, this is like, we're talking showrunner here. We're talking style. It doesn't need to be genre, but like,
no, but
I think
it's
there. It's like James Gunn or Taika Waititi. It's like Taika Waititi is a perfect example. We could watch Thor Ragnarok. We could watch the Hitler one.
Jojo
Rabbit. Yeah.
And it's like, those are radically different, but they're still Taika movies.
But I will say this. I would not have watched.
Here's the tweet.
I wouldn't have given it a chance if it wasn't a murder mystery small town thing.
I see where Andy's coming from. The other way, though.
This, because you've seen the murder mystery stuff, you liked it. So it's like, if you liked this type of thing, you're probably going to like this because this guy has good taste.
But me telling Kevin, watch True Detective if you like this, makes way more sense.
Yeah,
we can agree on that.
They're the same genre. It's like saying, like, hey, you liked True Detective, you should try The Outsider.
But this is also a depressing movie about somebody with demons. Like, that was also like one of the reasons. Shut up, Nick. You didn't even like Easttown, all right? Shove it up your ass right now.
Are they laying out?
I was drawn to fucking Kate Winslet, right? And her story and her divorce and what's been going on there and what, you know what I mean? Her character. It wasn't even about the murder mystery as much about her and her relationships. It was Scott Thomas who he's an actor, Red Dead Redemption 2, a podcast. Scott Thomas. He tweeted, if you like Mare of Easttown, now is the time to watch The Way Back, the other awesome Brad Inglesby joint which twists genre tropes to tell a story about how faith and forgiveness are tenuous yet necessary answers to the voids of addiction and child loss. Don't sleep on it.
Somebody getting killed? Is there a dead body being found in a forest? No? Okay, then sorry.
But I feel like both can be true, where it's like True Detective and the Janina movie are both good recommendations, just for different reasons.
Yeah, but I'm with Andy on this one. If you're in the mood for a murder mystery, I don't want to watch Ben Affleck struggle with addiction. That's just two different.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. They're saying the dynamics of the like people is similar to Mare of Easttown. Yeah. And certainly, Nicholas, I'm not done. certainly.
Nick, you don't know.
God damn, Greg Miller, I'm not done.
I'm on your side, Kevin. All right,
Let
you and me are two
side.
Beatles on a box right now, trying to make it to the house.
Oh my God,
I hate this show, and I don't know why anyone likes
the house.
So, but all I'm saying, as an experiment, Andy, it would be, I think, kind of cool for you to watch The Way Back and then come back and be like, yeah, you know what? It turns out the genre is more important rather than the people that made it.
Kevin, I'm not doing any experiments until you do the experiment I fucking asked you to do 9 years ago.
Trying to get me to watch fucking Nirvana, the band, the show. It's been 17 years. He keeps telling me to watch that show.
Terrible. It's
He's
terrible.
not in the mood for a Kurt Cobain documentary.
Has never steered me wrong.
Tim's taste in everything has gone to poo-poo. It's just trash.
Impeccable.
I don't miss.
Andy, can we just talk for a second about Wally's ranking?
No.
Wow.
We don't need
Kevin.
to bring that into this.
You're hitting me, Kevin. You're getting me back.
I mean, poo-poo is all I'm saying.
What's number one right now? Is it Up? Travesty.
Don't ruin the show.
I'm joking. I don't even know where I'm laid with all this.
I forgot what the last.
I'm pretty sure the list is exactly what I wanted it to be, and I'm still giving it shit.
That was a long time ago. We did.
He's alongside the Hispanic heartthrob, Texas Street, Latino Heat, clicking heads and ripping them to shreds. The Globetrotting, headshot, nitro rifle from Twitch.tv. Andy Cortez. This fucking thing again.
That's for the audio listeners. That's Asmar right there.
This is a bit I am not. I don't need.
I take it back. I love this show, and I know why everyone likes it.
Come on, let's go.
God.
Running out the Quartetti's Forbes 30 under 30, a.k.a. the second best baby blues, a.k.a. the verified one at Tim Gettys.
In 1 week, in a 7-day period, Nick brought us back balls, ass bush, and
Asmar. Come on.
Sucks to your ass.
Let's have some fun today.
You know, that's the thing. I think we've been too buttoned up lately. Andy's back on the podcast. He's here.
Good.
He's
just
poured a water.
Flies
Andy's
reference?
drinking a Mountain Dew.
Well, just energy.
We did. That was
diluted.
Yeah, that was correct. That was Lord of the Flies. Sucks to your Asmar. Yeah.
Why did that? Yeah, that's just one of those things that I feel like are future generations going to hear that and like immediately be brought back to like 4th to 6th grade?
Of course.
I don't know what are they still teaching that book in 4th?
I don't know.
School's a fucking sham and a joke. They don't read anything good. They just read the same shit over and over again.
Wait.
My fucking Greg, small Greg's gonna come in with robot legs in 2024, 2027, and he's gonna have Lord of the Flies and fucking Things Fall Apart, and we'll be reading about this fucking guy who was growing yams, and it'll be like, oh my god, I guess no books have come out since what 1984. That's
what it seems like, Greg. That's what it fucking seems like. Why is that the tradition? Why is that always in the curriculum? But at first, I thought we were talking about ASMR, and our kid's gonna know what that is. I didn't know we were talking about Lord of the Flies. My bad, I missed that.
Love how serious that he was. Like, whoa, wait, what are we talking about? Like, you had to be in the conversation.
I want to be mad or happy. Like,
either way, I need an opinion on this one.
I need to agree strongly or disagree strongly. Yeah, Lord of the Flies is one of those like staples. It's where the red fern grows. It's Old Yeller.
Animal Farm. It's
the book about the Greek gods and shit.
Oh, the
Oedipus and Antigone and all that. All those things are dope as fuck.
No, but it's the something. The
Odyssey. The Odyssey.
The Iliad and the Odyssey. I read the Odyssey and I remember thinking this is super cool, but I always just thought like in school, I always just wanted them to be like, can we mix in a couple contemporary books that like I might like as a gateway drug to reading?
Yeah, why not give me something that might encourage me to read the rest of my life rather than something that's going to make me hate this fucking chore?
Yeah, like we always got the summer reading list, and I'm like, you know what would be super dope if like one of them was, Lord of the Rings, right? That would have been fine for me. Or something that's like, hey, you want to incentivize kids to read the first book. Good point, Tim. Wait. That's totally not fine. Absolutely. Now that I think about that, I was like, there's a 300 fucking page book, and there's like 3 of them. So forget about that. I'm thinking more like, give me like a sci-fi book that's like 100 pages long that I could rip through and just enjoy.
Did you not have to read The Hobbit or Ender's Game? Like both of those were books.
Closest we got was Grendel. I got to read. We had to read Grendel.
The hell is Grendel?
I never read The Hobbit.
The fucking book Beowulf kills this motherfucker. I know more. I know more about Grendel from fucking Assassin's Creed than I do from reading the goddamn book.
Yeah, Kev, I didn't read The Hobbit until the Lord of the Rings movies were coming out, and I decided to read the books. I read The Hobbit first and then the books. But I know my brother read The Hobbit when he went
Yeah,
through,
we got The Hobbit freshman year, I think.
Yeah.
And then
we didn't get any of that. We had to read Fellowship of the Ring.
Really?
Fellowship was, I believe, 9th grade.
Hey, read number 1 of 3 books. Like, did they also?
We never got to the other 2 though.
That's fucked. That's what I'm saying. That's fucked up. Because you're not gonna read it on your own. It's just a cool thing to
600 more
teach
pages
kids
when
to
you're a
give up
freshman.
on shit.
And that's where my friend, as a freshman, was like, "Man, if he just threw the fucking ring in the fire, we wouldn't have to read this shit."
Dude, I remember they made us read fucking Charles Dickens. Great Expectations was the best times. It was the worst times.
I remember that.
And we also had to read what was that? The famous Russian author that was like,
God, it was just Chomsky.
No, I can't. Not Rasputin. It doesn't matter. These books were just like, I have to struggle to pay attention to these things.
Yeah.
And they're like, these are the classics. These are and I'm like, these have no bearing on any fucking reality I have as a 14-year-old child growing up in Riverside, California. Like, I don't have any context for this. I don't have any interest. And I don't know anyone, furthermore, in this class that does. Like, even the top students were like, yeah, this sucks. This is just the fucking worst thing.
Would it kill you to throw in a fucking alien? You would it kill you? Give me a machine gun in one of these things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They're on fucking like.
Can we read the novelization of Ridley Scott Alien?
Here's what I'll take. I'll take a Twilight book every once in a while. Give me some vampire and werewolf porn. Yeah,
and the love doesn't need to rhyme. We don't need iambic pentameter because, like, sure, I'll take Romeo and Juliet, but like, I don't need the 12th Night or whatever the fuck.
The only thing I could say about Romeo and Juliet and like the Shakespeare stuff is like from a formatting standpoint, from like a story structure standpoint, that's cool to study those. I don't need to do more than one. Just give me Romeo and Juliet. I don't need 12th Night. I don't need Midsummer Night's Dream. Forget it. One. That's it.
So the thing that, like, Shakespeare, pretty cool stuff, you know, definitely crazy stories. But like, did anyone ever enjoy reading them? Like in high school, where you'd be like, I don't know what any of this shit said, and you gotta sit down with your teacher.
Thesaurus. What is this egghead trying to fucking say?
You're breaking out. You're sitting down with your teacher, and your teacher like, well, they're actually making a comment about the lion, which was the king at the time of the play that came. It's like, all right, fucking.
I have no reference for that.
Yeah, exactly. None. Like, I guess you're telling me.
This is the thing, though, is that we are taking this and we're going to run with it. That's exactly what we do on this show. We just do it for MCU shows on Disney Plus, where it's like 20 years from now, there's going to be classes, and we're just talking about breaking down freaking comic book stories, and we're going to be like, no, but you need to understand the context of all of this. If the other Spider-Man are showing up, but they weren't in the same movies before.
Now we're in a point, though, Tim, where people understand that this is all disposable. You know what I mean? These are conversations we're having right now. We're going to move on. And that's the thing. If these teachers weren't so lazy, I'll say it. 1978, they made a lesson plan. They're still teaching it right now, 2021. All right, we just bring in new books.
You don't want to smoke. You don't want
nobody's. You're telling me right now, William Shakespeare, what, 23 years old, no teeth, hadn't ever had a hot shower. He's so bored out of his goddamn brain, he's rhyming everything just for the hell of it because there's no television. There's no, he can't get on a plane and go see something else. He's so fucking bored. All right, sitting out there doing this. Nobody's writing on that level now. No one currently is writing anything nearly as good as this moron over here. Like, it would be great. What if this 11 and 12-year-old fucking fell in love and then killed themselves at the end? Like, what are we talking about?
I just picture him in a living room like, I'm fucking bored.
God, I'll write it. What if I write this one, but it's all in haikus or whatever the fuck's going on, counting syllables?
Yeah. I'll tell you
who the fuck cares?
This is the equivalent of Cool Greg going after the astronaut community. Greg, I don't think you want this. I don't think you want this heat.
Oh, what are they going to do? Craft letters to us and send them in the mail?
Let's dial it back then, all right? I have no idea what's happening in the schools these days. I will find out soon enough.
Let me tell you, it's real bad.
I will find out soon enough when small Greg is going to these schools and bringing back reading lists and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, for my time, when I was there, shit books left and right, all right? I don't need it. Holden Caulfield and Catcher in the Rye, this dude fucking sucks. He's a shitless layabout just looking up skirts at the train station. I don't need it.
I read Catcher in the Rye once because everyone was like, it's the greatest American novel ever written. And I'm like, I don't granted, I don't understand it. I've never studied it in class. And sometimes that's what you need, right? You need a professor or a teacher to be like, hey, this is the significance of this. And this is what he's trying to say. I was so fucking bored out of my mind. And all I wanted to do was reach through that book and smack that kid around a little bit, metaphorically speaking, of course, because he's fucking useless. I'm like, you're a
useless. Paid a nickel and he got a fucking piece of candy and got on the train and then he still had a penny left over. It's like, I can't relate to this.
Fuck out of here, kid. And it was like, it's the greatest novel ever. I'm like,
for me, I remember reading, Atticus Finch,
Kill a Mockingbird.
Where the red
Superman's favorite book, no big deal.
Whose favorite book?
Superman's.
Oh, okay. To Kill a Mockingbird, I remember reading that, and the only sort of connection my brain made was, I wear Atticus clothing by Tom DeLonge from Blink-182.
That's what you walked away from.
Yeah, that's what I walked away from. I was like, that's where he got it from.
Greg walks away as it's Superman's favorite book. Like, if there's any teacher offended by this episode, which I'm sure there will be, I just want you to know we're all useless.
Yeah,
here we are.
We are the product of the American educational system. Not only do I not like reading, I resent it because you forced me to read shitty things I didn't like.
I pretty much resent it. And I think reading in middle school and high school is where, when I think back on it, I wish I had gone to a doctor for ADHD, because that's where I remember not having any sort of retention skills whatsoever. I would read a full page and be like, what did I just read? I don't know. I couldn't tell you one sentence I just read because it just went one ear and out the other. And I need to kind of focus. And I remember being in my room, like crying out of frustration. I would be like on my bed, like fucking hitting my book and be like, why can't I remember what I just read, dude? And it was so frustrating. But these are just issues I just never knew existed, you know?
This is my thing though. Like, I had what you just described was exactly me. I used to get that summer reading list and I would read those books and they were so far out of my league as far as like what interests I had when I was a kid that I just could not pay attention to them. I would have to read pages over and over and over again just to retain any of it. And by the time we got to class, I'd be like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I used to have to I'd read the book and sometimes I'd get the Cliff's Notes also just to remind me of what the hell what I had just read. And there were some books, by the way, to be fair, that did get me that I really, really enjoyed.
Of course, we're doing a bit here, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there was a few that I remember very distinctly really liking, but for the most part, there were the ones where like the classics.
Sorry, Flies.
Lord of the Flies. Well, Lord of the Flies, actually, I think I do remember actually liking. I remember reading that.
With Lord of the Flies hard, man.
It's a weird fucking book, and it's cool.
It was Battle Royale.
I don't know. I don't know what happened chemically in my brain from being in elementary to middle school and high school, but obviously, puberty obviously is one thing. But as a kid, I was such a top reader in every class, dude. Like I was
always made it fun, Andy.
I was acing.
They got us by the balls.
I would do the accelerated reader tests, and I was rank 1 for AR every week, dude. I was killing it. And then something happened, and my parents were just like, "Yeah, you just don't like reading anymore. What happened?" I was like, "I don't know. I wish I knew what happened."
I do feel this is if we can dial back the bit a bit, or at least not my bit that I've been fucking ranting and raving about.
Yeah, don't.
I do think in elementary school and whatever, right? Like in junior high and reading, I remember, and this is definitely. Well, the joke I had before was like, "What are the 3 things schools forced me to do?" Right? It was read, exercise, right? And then I had a fucking good one that was going to be the other one. And like, look at me now, like, I just all fat, I don't want to read, I don't, what I mean, like, whatever. But like early on, I remember reading being like the book it program of like, obviously you're gonna get a pizza at the end of the rainbow, but it was read whatever you want. And I do remember like when we were reading Goosebumps, and I'm old enough that Goosebumps debuted, right? And it was a huge deal. And like when there'd be a new one, we'd all flip out. And I remember voraciously reading Goosebumps, like finishing one in a day. And thank you very much. And then I remember being in class when we were, I don't know, whatever grade it was, 4th grade, I'll say, but I don't know if that's true. And, our teacher waking up to the fact of what was going on. We explained, she's like, wait, you're all reading this once? And like, and she thought it was the coolest thing in the world and like supported that. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, it's, I don't think of hating reading until high school. When in high school, it was read these dense ass books. And then we're coming and take this quiz. And the quiz isn't even about like the themes. The quiz is about like what color was the fucking thing to prove you read it, like something that they knew wouldn't be in the fucking cliff notes. And I was like, this fucking sucks. I hate this.
See, I was in like AP literature.
I was in honors until they bounced me because I didn't do anything.
So I like, to a degree, like obviously dropping the bit, like I enjoyed the exercise of them saying like, hey, write an essay about the themes, write an essay about like critically analyzing the stories and the characters and like the themes that were being explored in them. It's just on a personal level and like an entertainment level, none of the books that I read, like 80% of the books that I read, I'm just like, I'm just doing this for the academic nature of it. I'm not enjoying the read of this. And actually, it wasn't until like way later in life that I started reading nonfiction, like biographies and stuff like that. That I'm like, oh, this is what I should read for entertainment, because I get a lot out of this. It's inspirational for me to read like a biography for Steve Martin, right? And I'll tear through that in like a day or two, just because it's super fun. But
that's the crazy thing about it, right? Where I feel like, there's an old Tired Greg story of like, when we were doing practice essays for college, and they gave us a list of like 12 books and wanted us to compare and contrast the time frames in them. And I went through the list. It was like in a class. I went through the list, hadn't read any of the books, so I just did Ocarina of Time for Zelda, right? And I think that's like a great snapshot / microcosm of it, where it's like, when they turned reading into real homework and annoying busy work, I rebelled so hard against it. I just stopped. And it's something I don't consider myself like, I don't consider myself a reader, but obviously I read, video game magazines like crazy. I obviously read the newspapers like crazy, because that was my profession, and let alone my career, educational career path in college and stuff. And I would read books about it, but none of that ever translated. Like the damage, it salted the earth for me, to the point of even now, like when, we've had a bunch of books recently, Anna's book and Jason's book and a few others that have come through, and I read them and I enjoy them. And I'm always like, oh man, I'm surprised I don't read more. But as soon as I put them down, I'm on back to video games, whatever I'm reading online or something. I don't think of reading is not even I mean, comic books I don't count, I know, for this part of the conversation, but like reading a book, a novel, an autobiography, I enjoy doing, but I would never think to do it, if that makes sense.
Well, it's because they never commoditize it. That's really what it is because we're talking about stuff where there's the Scholastic Book Club, and they had Goosebumps, and then later generation had Animorphs, and then it just kind of kept going, the Captain Underpants and all that stuff. They get you young, and then they keep iterating as you get older and older. And I think that they were really smart moving on from the 90s into the 2000s to capitalize on the young adult side of things with things like Twilight, and then capitalize on them growing up into 50 Shades of Grey. And it's just kind of like there are certain markets that have been targeted and been trained to enjoy reading throughout their life. They just, for some reason, all of us, they missed that next step after elementary school. So it's like we got to middle school, we just didn't have franchises that were really geared to us, because things like Star Wars and all that were like that was still a niche novel book thing. It wasn't like Greg was talking about, every kid in the class is reading Goosebumps at the same time. It didn't feel like a cultural phenomenon that you have to do it or else you're missing out on the water cooler conversations.
Yeah, I think we also mean my generation too. Like at the end of the day, I was like, reading takes effort, and it doesn't take effort? Watching movies and watching TV. So I'm going to do that instead. And the old joke of like, if anything's worth reading, they're going to make a movie out of it. I was that kid. I'm like, I'll just watch the movie for it, right? I've never read To Kill a Mockingbird, but I'm pretty sure I saw the movie. So it's like, I guess I kind of understand what that is.
Yeah, we watched that shit after we read it.
But it's an interesting thing too, though, right? Of where I feel like, not that I'm saying reading isn't fundamental, you shouldn't read. Not that there's any like 11-year-old watching this being like, guys are making great points. Fuck books.
Right now,
but like even what you're saying that worked out, right? In the way you get that out of movies, the way you talk about movies and TV, right, are the way I talk about video games. Like those themes and being able to get into what makes something good or what the creators are going for with it, I think exists. It's just, I don't know. Like, I feel like since it's not a passion, I don't think of books that way.
And that's I think what's hard, right? Go ahead, Tim.
Just real quick, I think a big thing with that is that, like, that is at the end of the day, unfortunately, the point is like, it's not, so you're not supposed to be like super engrossed in the narrative or plot. You're supposed to be being taught how to take things and apply the logic to stuff that you do enjoy or stuff you don't enjoy, like movies or video games or blah, 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 keep going on. But it's like that's kind of the thing. Even like when they teach you math and we're all like, oh, we're never going to use this stuff. It's more about like having the understanding that you can use that stuff, or when you would need to use the stuff, and like when you would need to use the math in your real life, which we have to use all the time. We just don't think about it because we were taught fundamentals and we're able to apply the fundamentals. And I think reading comprehension is very much the fundamentals of theory and understanding, like
incredibly important
subtext. It came from books. You know what I mean? It's just also in all the things that we the four of us actually enjoy.
And I to second that and to add to that, like, I think there's a good portion of obviously like high school and like junior high that you don't know what you're going to be into. So the whole point of those programs is to expose you to like math and literature and arts and things like that to sort of help stoke those passions. It's just unfortunate that like that has to be the case, and you have to do like I always just kind of felt like I was getting maybe 50% of the stuff that I really, really enjoyed doing, and then I had to just deal with another 50% of the stuff. Which in a perfect world you wouldn't, right? In a perfect world, everything that a kid learned they were super passionate about and they were focused on and they could hone that, and by the time they were 18 or 16 when they're applying to colleges, they knew exactly what they wanted to be in life, and they could go and do that, and maybe not go to college, maybe go do a trade or whatever. But obviously that's not the case, and the work of an educator is incredibly hard, especially when you deal with kids that have no, we're joking around, but obviously like I had no attention span when I was a kid. I just wanted to go mess around in the theater or go play music and fuck off. I didn't want to deal with math, and I especially didn't want to read like Last of the Mohicans or whatever we had to read, even though I remember really enjoying that book as well.
It's trying to apply all this stuff, the fundamentals, right? You're trying to apply to a wide group of kids. It's not like you're getting a personal one-on-one attention, nor can the kids go and specialize, which is why, I remember I've talked about on the show, I think before too, but in 7th grade, 8th grade, a teacher being like, you're going to love college. And she's like, you're going to like high school. I'm not trying to say you're going to hate high school, but I mean, you're going to love college. And she was 100% right, where I fucking hated high school, but at Mizzou, obviously, I was on a path to do what I wanted to do. And I could see everything I was doing building to my degree and what I wanted to actually use in real life.
That's really taking classes you cared about.
Yeah.
You ever think about how fucked up homework is? Like, think about this, right? You go, but think about it, right? What time does school start? What time does school start?
Whatever. School's insane. Yeah, when you put it
starts at 7 in the morning, and then it lets out at 3. How many hours is that? I can't do the math. 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. 10
Normally 7 to 2.
So it's.
Well, I mean, my school used to.
We got out at 3:15 every.
Yeah, we got out at 3,
and you started at 7, and you got out at 3.
Oh yeah, we used to start at 7 in the morning. I used to not get out I had band practice after 2, so I wouldn't get out till 5. My parents would come pick me up after work, or I started driving. But think about that, right? You're putting in a 9-hour day, and then you're asking kids to also work nights and weekends. If this were a job, people would revolt against that shit, right?
We need to unionize. Those kids need to unionize.
Think about that. Right? I had you're asking kids to basically their entire life has to be school, and if you've got 2 hours, like I had 2 hours of homework every night. I was an AP and advanced, like I was an AP and internet IB classes, which International Baccalaureate. So my homework was fucking hard. I had essays, I had books I had to read. I just think about that. I'm like, man.
And also think about class. And think about the fact that it's rarely stuff that kids actually give a shit about or want to further a career in. It is learning things that you will not ever touch again as soon as you become a freshman in college. Like,
it's the fucking test.
It's absolutely wild. Yeah, like I know that. I mean, we're not saying anything new. Everybody knows this shit. But goddamn, the amount of times that I would be in a math class being like, I'm never going to have to use this. And I know it, and it sucks, but there's nothing I could do about it. So let me just struggle trying to remember and memorize these equations in hopes that when I take the test, I at least get a 70. Like, that's all I'm asking for.
Let's just pass. That was me in geometry. I hate this. It doesn't make sense. Let me just scrape by and pass. And the harder you get mad at me for not trying, the less I want to try.
The amount of relief that I would feel if I lucked into a 92 on a math test, I'd be like, oh, that means that the next one I could really fuck up and I'd be okay still.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just like
the math was definitely doing how many questions you could miss. Yeah. What your average would be.
That's what they teach you though. I swear to God, it's just about teaching you that like it's important to be able to learn things. And like all the shit is set up in a way where it's like it's annoying as fuck, and at the time really sucks. And yeah, the homework is really, really dumb. But that all goes back to, obviously I don't need to get into it all, but it's just teachers aren't paid shit. They don't have given money and budget to like
for sure
come up with better curriculum and all that stuff, and that goes all the way to the top. And
they're not able to come up with better curriculum too, because often more than not, and I don't want to misspeak here, so if you're a teacher, please leave a comment in the comments below. But like a lot of teachers aren't responsible for like what they can and cannot teach. I think that is set at the district
more
level.
Than that, they're not only not responsible for it, they are required to get them set to be able to like answer a bunch of questions on stupid tests that are standardized that don't make any goddamn sense.
That's why we should all be teachers, man. Fuck the system. What are we learning today? I don't know, kids. What do you want to learn today? And they go, nothing. And I go, that sounds great. Let's not do anything today.
That's kind of funny day.
That's what a private school is, Nick.
Roll in the cart, Tammy. Roll in the cart. Remember when you see the cart roll in, you're like, fucking carts here, the TV carts here.
You got that cool substitute who was here last month, and he's like bad. He knows you because you and your friends are like the funny dudes, you know. So he's like,
the cool kids.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, this guy loves us. Yeah, he's the guy with the ponytail. He's cool as hell, you know.
I do think that the power of choice is like the most important thing to empower young people with. And just making them feel like they're in control of their destiny and of what they're choosing to do. Not fully, but like at least like what Greg's talking about with the teacher being like, oh, you're going to love college. It's just like, I was lucky, very lucky. And I've said this many times on the podcast over the years that like, I loved my high school experience. And the reason for that is my high school allowed us to choose our classes. We got to choose our entire schedules. And there was a lot of like, there were requirements of you need at least this. It was just like college though. Like we got to, if I wanted a super long day, that'd be cool. Or if I want a short day with no lunch, I could set that up too. Like whatever it was. But like that kind of empowerment, like really allowed all of us to kind of feel a little bit more in control. So when we were doing these we didn't want to do, it was like, all right, but then at least I get to do this freaking computer science class where I get to learn how to make Tron. That's dope as fuck.
That's cool.
Nothing worse though than the anxiety that I would go through of knowing that I have to somehow find a school schedule of classes that I not only need, but classes that are in the right time blocks so that I can still work my full-time job. That was the most like nerve inducing, like I wanted to fucking just leave the planet anytime I had to do that because I had to get there early. You got to find parking just to get there. Parking is already like on the top of my stresses, right? But you find parking, you hope that you're first, close to being first in line. You talk to the lady, you look at the classes. Yeah, we can fit you in here. And you're like, all right, I hope my job is cool with this because like I have to work around school and this is a nightmare. And damn, if I pick this day, fuck, I would love to work on that day. But this class is at 8 a.m. This class is at 6 p.m. What am I going to do for fucking 8 hours in the middle? Like it
smoke cigarettes. That's what I did.
It sucks so bad. Like, do I go home? I mean, sure, but traffic's going to take like 30 minutes if you leave during lunch. Oh God. It's just the fucking worst, dude. The absolute worst. I hated all of that.
I remember, I liked high school. I was the opposite of Greg. I really liked high school and I didn't like my college experience that much, largely because I didn't really have a direction going in, which I think is probably the hardest thing to try to get out of a kid is to try to figure out like, what is your thing in life? I think Greg, you probably enjoyed it because you knew exactly what you wanted to do and you went to the best school for that. Whereas I didn't discover film until too late. And then I was kind of locked into a program that was not, it's not great for film, frankly, because you don't get a lot of hands-on experience. But I do wonder what I think I would have liked my life a lot more if I'd have been like, you know what? I'm just going to call it what it is. I'm going to go into arts. I'm going to go into film and I'm going to go to I'm going to try to get into UCLA or a Cal State that has a really good film program and go from there. Cause I think I really would have enjoyed that. I think then to like what Tim's talking about, where it's like when I had to take the math requirement for God fucking why you would need a math requirement for a liberal arts major is completely beyond me. But when you got to take this super easy,
your gen eds,
cheese math, like I would have been fine doing that. But I went in and I was like, I'll take Boolean algebra. And I was like, I don't even know what either of those words mean. And it was miserable. I was miserable my freshman year because of that. I also think that I think college, your first year should be all electives. I don't think you should be allowed to pick a major. I think you should be like, you go in and they should just be fun classes that you're supposed to take just to try shit and see what you want to do in life.
This episode is brought to you by Stamps.com. Are you still going to the post office, still paying full price for postage? Well, thanks to Stamps.com, you don't have to anymore. Mail and ship anytime, anywhere, right from your computer. Send letters, ship packages, and pay less, a lot less. With discounted rates from USPS, UPS, and more, Stamps.com saves businesses thousands of hours and tons of money every year, including kind of funny. We have been really, really reliant on Stamps.com to get things sent out over the years, and we could not thank them more. Stamps.com brings the services of the U.S. Postal Service and UPS right to your computer. It's a must-have for any business, whether you're a small office sending invoices, a side hustle Etsy shop shipping out orders, or just navigating this hybrid work life. Stamps.com can handle it all with ease. No wonder over 1 million businesses choose Stamps.com for their mailing and shipping. Again, just like Kinda Funny. With Stamps.com, you get discounts up to 40% off post office rates and up to 66% off UPS shipping rates. Stamps.com is a no-brainer, saving you time and money. It's no wonder nearly 1 million small businesses use it. Like I said, stop wasting time going to the post office and go to Stamps.com instead. There's no risk, and with the promo code Kinda Funny, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Kinda Funny. That's Stamps.com, promo code Kinda Funny. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again. And next up, shout out to MeUndies. Summer is here, which might mean leaving the great indoors for a dip in the great outdoors, whether that's a pool, ocean, or fjord. MeUndies might be known for making the softest undies and bralettes in the world, but now they make swimwear too. That's awesome. I can't wait for this. You guys know I've been loving MeUndies for a very long time. Wearing a shirt right now, of course, the lounge pants, the undies themselves, and the socks. I love MeUndies. Can't wait to swim in some MeUndies this summer. You can check out MeUndies' first ever swimwear featuring bikinis, one pieces, and 2 different lengths of swim trunks. I'm going as short as I can. There are roughly 8 recycled plastic bottles in each pair of men's trunks, so that means they're eco-friendly, baby. Each one piece of bikini is made from recycled nylon derived from factory scraps and old fishing nets, which keeps our oceans looking beautiful. So there you go. Swim in an even cleaner ocean while you're looking fresh and clean. To get 50% off your first order and free shipping, go to MeUndies.com/morning. That's 15% off your first order by going to MeUndies.com/morning. I think something really interesting, and I'm doing the bad thing about I just saw a headline and have not looked into it at all, so I'm just presenting just what the headline I saw. I'm letting you guys know that context. I saw that Biden was talking about extending the school not requirements but availability that's free for people, to adding 4 more years to the traditional school cycle, but in an interesting way where it's 2 years of before kindergarten. Okay. So that would help out with childcare, parents, all that stuff, but also getting the kids even earlier kind of socialized in a world that is a lot quicker and there's a lot more to learn, honestly. And then on the other side, it's after 12th grade, after high school, 2 years of community college are free. And I think that's really interesting because that's more, it's not quite what you're saying, Nick, but like there is the potential for, it would incentivize a lot more people to take those 2 years for free to kind of like get all that shit out of the way, experiment, figure out what they want, and then commit to the real big dog deal of those final 2 years of just let's go all in on whatever your major is.
See, that's kind of what I wish I had done. I wish I would have gone to a community college or a trade school like for the first couple of years and then been able to decide, because I just went with my friend group, and my friend group was way too smart for me. They were all, turns out I was the funny one. I was not the one that was really pulling in the grades here, because I remember like my friends had like 4.3 grade point averages. They were applying to like Stanford and MIT, and I'm like, God, I hope I get into a UC. I hope I can just, get something that's not the college that's in the town that I grew up in. That's really all. That was like my motivation on that one. What a waste.
With me, I just knew that I wanted to do it the most affordable way. I did not want to.
Smart.
I don't know why I was always just paranoid about my parents' funds. I guess I was very much like Greg, now that I think about it. Where
mom pulls out credit card, all of us start crying.
When it comes to going to a college, I was like, well, I mean, they're gonna be paying for a lot of it. I don't want to try to go to some gigantic university. And also, Andy, are you going to prom this year? Like, no, because I don't want you all to buy a suit or whatever. Like, I didn't know. I was very much that kid, so I'd never wanted to put them out in any sort of way. But for me, it was like community college, STCC, South Texas Community College.
Well, that was my thing.
That
was my thing too. Is like my parents were obviously like, we'll pay for 4 years, and I'm like, that is amazing, and I don't want to take that for granted. So when I changed majors, I looked at Chapman University and I looked at the price tag on that, which I think at the time was like $27,000 a year, and I was like, I think I even went to their admissions and like talked to them, and they were like, well, your units will transfer, but you might have to add more. It might be like 4.5 years to graduate. And I'm like, I can't do that to my folks. Like, I've already destroyed their hopes for me having like a steady career by going from computer science to film studies. Like there's no way, and I'm not paying for that additional they can't afford $27. It's not going to happen, right? It's just not happening.
That's exactly what happened at the Art Institute when they sort of. When I went to the Art Institute, they did not have a game design path as a thing that you could major in or whatever. Like they had their fashion side for they had their culinary thing, they had animation, but they didn't have like major in game design. Now they had a lot of classes that had game, and former game devs and current game devs teaching classes that you would just kind of throw in there and whatever, add it to your major. But they introduced the game, intro to game development kind of thing, and you would go down that path. But they introduced it while I was in college, and a lot of classmates of mine were like, "Oh shit, should I do that?" And you look it up, and it's like an extra 28 or 30 something grand.
And you're like, nope.
And I was like, I've already taken a couple of 3D classes. I only need a couple more, so I'm just gonna add it.
I'm just
gonna major in like media arts and animation, and just like, hey, game studios, here's my resume. Here's what classes I know and what I've done. Because I was like, no way, dude. This is already a nightmare. Like this already sucks enough.
Yeah. I was lucky enough in some ways that like SF State has a great, one of the best video production paths, specifically for like commercial TV, music video.
I remember talking to you about that. I was like, I'm so fucking jealous. This kid got to do that when you came to IT. I was like, you actually know, like it sounded like professors were like, oh, we're going to prepare you for a YouTube world, not a.
Well, no, that wasn't the case at all. Like YouTube was like that's why I'm using the quotes.
Well, at least they were trying to stay somewhat current, whereas I was studying films from fucking 1920s France. I don't know how this is going to be. I mean,
you'd be surprised. You would be surprised. But anyways, what I was happy about is that didn't cost that much, and on top of that, I got a bunch of scholarships and grants and all that shit that allowed me to kind of pay for stuff, including paying for rent for my mom and brother and me and all that. So like all that shit was great, and it worked out for me, and I don't have debt, and it was just good. Period. Having said that, and I would recommend that path to anybody that can take it, because why the fuck not? Try to stay as cheap as possible. But having said that, when Greg and I went to Full Sail a couple years ago in Florida, which is like the art school, I can't speak to success stories, failure stories, whatever it is. All I can say is I was blown away at the facility and what everyone had access to, and what, like, it was such a kid in a candy store type thing where I was just like, I would have fucking killed to have access to this shit, man.
It's for what we do. It's also it's hard to go back and look at that through the lens of like modern day, because technology has advanced so quickly that even when you graduated, Tim, like DSLRs, I don't even think were a thing when you graduated. Maybe they just hit the market, right?
Yeah,
but
it was 2011. DSLRs were like brand new coming out. Like,
were like that was when people were like,
whoever had a DSLR won the film festival competitions at the school. It was just by default, just because all of a sudden it looked real.
Yeah. You had depth of field, and I remember people would shoot projects on that, and you'd have to bring an ice box, like a cooler, because the thing would overheat. You'd have to stick it in the cooler, right? Remember that shit?
Yeah.
But now, of course, people have amazing facilities, because video production is just goes hand in hand with literally every job you have. There's no job on the planet that doesn't require some level of video presence online or social media and stuff like that. But I'm just so jealous. I'm simultaneously jealous, but not jealous of kids that go through school now. Because A, they have access to all this amazing technology, but B, everyone has access to all that amazing technology.
Yeah.
The barrier to entry is nothing, which means the competition is probably bonkers right now. You know?
Oh, yeah.
There are so many talented people not getting what they probably deserve because there's too many people to look at.
Like, oh, we're being filmed, but I have no motivation. So I'm just like, I'll just do the bare minimum and take stage time away from these other kids. Yeah, probably.
When I think about, universities and Tim mentioning how awesome the opportunities must have been for people going to Full Sail, I think about, from my perspective, when I remember getting an email or seeing on the news, or my mom sending me a news article about a class action lawsuit about the art institutes, and being like, oh shit, I might be able to get my money. Well, fuck, how much money can I get back? Because the Art Institute was infamously bad about letting anybody in. They acted like you had to be of a certain scale to get in, and you did not.
Took everyone's money,
and I could fucking tell. Like when I still have the drawings of what got me into the Art Institute, And I would look at other students and be like, "Oh my god, dude!" Like,
was it like, did you ever? I mean, Nick, you'll remember these because you're old too. But remember, like when you'd stay home sick and you'd watch like whatever like reruns in People's Court, there'd always be that thing of like, you could be an artist if you can draw on the back of this matchbook this guy's face or whatever. You would mail it in. You get our
Coco's menu. You can get into this.
No. The test was just it was like submit 5 still life objects, submit 5 drawings of people or whatever, and it was just stuff that I had done over time. But yeah, when I'd look at other students, I'm like, oh, there's no fucking test. You just show your shit and you get in. Like, if you're willing to spend, $40,000 here, you just get in. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's the thing too, is like you have to look at when you're going to like an art school or a trade school like that, you really have to look at like the alumni and what they've gone on to do and how. Because that's the most important.
Oh, there were success stories for sure.
Sure, but like, can they get you, not necessarily get you a job, because no college is going to get you a job afterward, but can they place you with people who you're going to be able to mentor under and really learn from and then eventually potentially work for? Well, I mean, that was the thing, like Tim's, that's what Tim did, right? Like you had to get internships and stuff.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I got my IGN internship and I couldn't have got that if I wasn't going to college, which is total, absolute fucking bullshit. But I understand that's how that all works and whatever, it worked out for me, so I can't complain. But the difference between my experience, where it's like, they didn't teach me shit. Like Nick, like my experience was looking at old French films and all that stuff. YouTube, thank God, was around. So I was able to just be top of my class because I was running circles around these fools because they're listening to the teachers that are teaching them outdated ass shit.
Bullshit,
like they were teaching them Final Cut Pro at a time. Final Cut Pro was irrelevant already. And it was just like, Premiere's here. And not that that matters that much, but it's like, it was more just I was proactive about it. People were being told, oh, Final Cut. And all those people were useless when they moved on to places that only used Avid and IGN. And it's like, well, guess what? You should have known that was the thing and keep going. Anyway, that shit's hard. But what impresses me so much about Full Sail is that Full Sail would have just straight up taught Avid. Full Sail were teaching kids, like NXT, the WWE subsidiary, NXT is shot on the premises. And the kids, it's not internships, it's a class to fucking run a WWE event.
That's cool.
Cameramen running the video walls, running all the lighting, running all this stuff. It's like, it's actually real world applications, practical things of like, these are the jobs that you can be doing. And there's nobody better suited to do them than the people that do all these weird niche things that are in production. And again, I'm talking very specifically about
Full Sail.
Video production and arts at Full Sail. But I was so impressed because the level of stuff that they have. I am lucky enough that with IGN and Kind of Funny and just all Rooster Teeth, we have had access to some of the most ridiculous studio production facilities in the world.
I remember when I first started IGN, we rented an Avid machine. Like a lot of people don't understand this because if you're editing right now, you're editing probably on Premiere. That's a $50 subscription. You can edit on your freaking whatever laptop you have will probably handle 1080p footage. But when we first got the Xbox 360, Greg will remember this because I think you were around during the Xbox and PS3 days.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have a means of capturing 1080. So Fran rented an Avid machine and an Avid tech came and set it up. And it was like, you're talking about like $100,000 computer at the time, which now, again, super underpowered. You can do it with my freaking MacBook that's sitting in front of me. But like, I'm like, okay, I have to figure out how to edit. Or first off, I had to figure out what HD meant because I was like, I don't know what this means. I don't know what standard definition is versus HD. That's how shitty my education was in my film studies department. Because again, we never had access to anything. We had like some handy cams and like I think we were on a Media 100 machine, which you guys probably don't even know what that means. That's like it was some shitty. I mean, not shitty. It was some other program that was a competitor to Avid, but was cheaper and ran on Macs. And there was like 2 of them in my entire facility. So. But like, at least you had context for what digital video acquisition could be. Because for me, it was before really digital was. For me, like if you picked up a video camera, it was to film your child's baseball game. This is pre-YouTube. I had no idea what online video was even going to be until I started with IGN. But thank God, Fran at least was like, we need to be competitive. We need to make sure we have awesome video. We need to get away. He saw sort of like where the industry was going, whereas I had no vision for that ever.
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole thing. I remember what a bitch it was whenever we had to go get direct feed. That's like why they would send video people everywhere, and you guys would have these gigantic fucking Pelican cases that would take you 30 to 45 minutes to set up because they never worked correctly because you break out the Folsom. This is all, I wasn't my job. You break out the Folsom to then to scale it to the right thing, to put it into the whatever the other motherfucker is.
That was the,
I'm there with a goddamn PSP with a video out, and we're like, oh, no, putting component composites into shit.
Tim, you got the AJAs, the Aja boxes that you lucked out on those. What he's talking about is we used to bring a Pelican case that was this big, and it would have three separate devices in it. One was the Folsom scaler, which I think people still use today.
We had to use the Folsom. I had to use the Folsom and the Key Pro.
Yeah, the Key Pro. So the Key Pros are awesome because they worked better. Now you bring a Shogun. It has its own monitor.
It's all set,
and you just plug in an HDMI cord and you're ready to rock and roll. Greg, do you remember?
No, dude, Nick, like you probably don't even know this. Like now, Elgato and stuff, it's essentially just like a device like this big.
Cards,
yeah.
HDMI, and you're just golden.
Yeah, and it just works. We used to go.
Look at us old men just talking.
We used to Rochambeau for PC capture, Andy. If like Charles on Yet would go, who wants to come with me to a PC capture game?
We horrible Charles impression.
I'm sorry, that was terrible. I'm sorry, Charles. If you're listening to this, I love you. But he would go, hey, who wants to come with us to like capture whatever PC?
Baldur's Gate.
We would fucking ghost. I'm like, I am not doing that because it was inevitably was an hour of pulling your hair out to try to get the PC to communicate with the Folsom, and it never worked. It was like DVI.
When we all started going out, is kind of funny. We got the Shoguns right as they were coming out, and we brought them over, and we would shock devs. Remember, because we had figured out a way to strip the HDCP, so it would make it so something that shouldn't be shareable could be, or recordable, could be recordable, and they'd always be like, how are you guys doing this? And it's like, we just happened to figure it out by chance. And I remember Ubisoft was like, let us know, because we're going to do these setups here. And then the following time I went to him, every station had a Shogun already set up. Yeah.
That was a cool advice.
Kevin, you should get some little pile of that money, Kevin.
You want me to invoice
No,
Ubisoft
I got paid.
right now?
I got paid at that time.
Well, what happened is we went and we stole a bunch of shit from Ubisoft. So we got
I meant more like you hitting up Shogun and being like, hey, I've sold so many devices for y'all. Where's my kickback?
Yeah, get us some free Infernos.
Use promo code
Kevin. Yeah, we own like
promo code Kevin Coco
that we haven't used in so long. That's crazy. Where we have these devices that, like, essentially because of how Elgato and the AverMedia have evolved their capture cards, I don't know that we'll ever actually need them again,
Ever again? We have OBS. We don't need it. We'll just capture straight to computers now.
Also, you can bring a laptop, open it up, have the little thing just sitting on the side, and it's plugged in. And now AverMedia did that a little while ago, but they have devices that record directly onto a micro USB. The quality's a lot higher in a Shogun, but you're putting it on YouTube, it's going to get compressed regardless.
It's going to get
exactly, dude. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm just I'm having the PTSD flashbacks of having to do a party mode with 4 different 120 gigabyte files.
Sorry, Andy.
And Premiere is just wanting to shit the bed. It was awful.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Even that, I mean, it's funny to think of those, like when we would do party mode. I remember we went and did Star Trek Bridge Crew, and it was the same thing of Kevin for like an hour and a half trying to set shit up because it just wouldn't cooperate. And like, we're going to look back on that. I mean, that was what, 5 years? Andy was here, so that's 3 years ago. Yeah. So like, we're going to look back on that in 2 years, and it'll be night and day. Speaking of night and day, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kind of Funny podcast. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each coming to bullshit about whatever it is they want to bullshit about. If you like that, you can head to patreon.com/kindafunny. Of course, you can get the show there ad-free. You can write in to be part of this show. You can get it with the exclusive post show we do twice a week. And of course, you could be watching live on patreon.com/kindafunny, just like J6 is, the Lou is, Corey Scott is, Madeline Stanley is, who showed up an hour late and goes, how have they still not done the intro? If you don't have any bucks to toss our way, though, it's no big deal. You can get each and every episode on youtube.com/kindafunny, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe twice a week, each and every week, oftentimes with guests. Obviously, it is housekeeping. as we transition to that, housekeeping, it's E3 this week. As you see this on the public things, E3 kicks off on Saturday. Of course, it's already started, and you're already in the pre-E3 events, and there's a million things and streams going on, meaning that by the time you see this, I'll probably already in LA. No, I'll be getting ready to go to LA to go host E3. You can catch all of it Saturday through Tuesday. Reactions will be on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to all the major stuff. Of course, I'll be popping in. I will be hosting E3, then running from that set to a different desk to then react with the boys on Discord for all of our stuff. So a lot of exciting stuff happening. Twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Also meaning, of course, that schedules will be getting a bit weird in terms of different reactions, where shows go, who's doing. We're keeping it kind of loose for the Kind of Funny podcast and what that means. And some of your other podcasts more on the back half when we get to the second half of E3 when we bleed into next week. But giving you your updates now and stuff like that. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Donovan Harkness, Joshua Schroeder, Delaney Twinning, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, Steve Powers, and Donovan Harkness again. Today, we're brought to you by MeUndies and Stamps.com. And man, we're late in the show, so let's hear from them right now.
My favorite Donovan with the double dip in, huh?
Yeah, Donovan's all about it.
Thank you, Donovan.
You all, everybody watching this could learn a lot from Donovan and his support for Kind of Funny.
I'm just going to say it now. The ads definitely happened way earlier.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's already happened.
Oh, did they?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We'll find a spot.
For another 2 hours.
Let me just one more thing about like the evolution of video and how like we were there for it, because like it's just one of those no, it's really fun. Like we went a really cool path that went from like children books to college to early video, and it just, the last thing I want to say, like it was so cool to be there for the first time when it was Tim and Alfredo, and we were like, is it cool if we just do a let's play like right here in the middle of this demo that you have set up? Yeah, this hotel room. And they're like, you guys can handle that. And it's like, yeah. We're just going to record them playing Guitar Hero and put it together.
Guitar Hero Live. Our like most successful let's play of all time.
Yeah.
Hold on, I think it's more than that. Sorry, keep going.
It's more than our most successful.
How could it be more than?
It can't. There's no way. It's
the top.
There is.
Okay.
It is our most successful video on Kind of Funny Games, period.
Wow, that makes more sense. Yeah, you did.
That is like the perfect.
1.5 million views.
And that is literally the perfect example. Again, I'm not trying to pat ourselves in the back, obviously, but like the Ubisoft thing is 100% true. I remember going there with those Shoguns. They're like, "What is this? Tell us all the information." And then we came back like 6 months later for a different thing, and every station had a Shogun. But this is the one where when we were really scrappy and brand new, and we sent you guys to see this game, and I remember everybody's preview coverage going up and only using just what the videos they had provided, and we were the only people who had let's plays, and it blew the fuck up for Guitar Hero Live. the buttons are white and black this time, kids.
God.
My favorite, from the first half of the show there, before that, my favorite comment, I tweeted it already, but Predit Noir in the chat said, "I like how they argued about a movie none of them are going to watch for 10 minutes." I'm going to watch The Way Back. It is on the.
Not watching that fucking piece of shit.
Joey watched it already.
I'm kidding.
The Way Back.
I might watch it.
Joey, when we were calling her out earlier, trying to get her to come answer for sweatshirt crimes, gave no responses. And then when we started talking about Way Back, she was like, "The Way Back's better." And The Way Back is a really fun movie that I enjoyed in a water park that I think you should all go watch as well. Yes.
I love water parks.
I know you do. Speaking of water parks, what do you got?
Nothing.
Speaking of water parks, Grant Burton writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunny and says, "What are some of the things you never want to experience again because the first time was so good?" Tim, would you put water parks in that? Did you ever have such a good water park experience you'd never want to have it again?
Well, in Bali, I did that crazy, 90-degree drop water slide, and I would totally do all of that again. So
that's a weird question. Is Grant asking because it'll never be as good as the first time?
Pretty much.
God, because for me, it's like if something's good, you just keep on doing it. It's as good.
Yeah, I'm with that.
See, that was I'm with Grant to an extent, because I remember when I played The Last of Us for review and loved it so much, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's coming to PlayStation 4 PlayStation 4 pretty soon thereafter." Like, it was a year, I forget. And I remember starting it up, excited to play it again, and I stopped early on. I'm just like, you know what? I had such a great experience with this the first time, and the story, I don't want to do it again. knowing where it's going. And like, granted, years and years and years later, obviously, I did it getting ready for Last of Us Part 2, but I can see that.
Yeah, because for me, when it comes to certain foods that I back off on because I just have them too much and I love them so much, definitely not mac and cheese. But yeah, I don't know. There's never a time where I'm like, God, that meal was so good, I never want to have that again, because it's always good and I love it. There are really no experiences that I wouldn't want to re-experience if they were amazing.
Do you ever burn out of foods though? Do you ever do something like you had it so much? Yeah.
Yeah, and I take a step back and I just evaluate myself, Greg. And I'm just, where did this go wrong?
For me, I feel like there are a couple things where I wouldn't want to experience it again, just because I wouldn't want to put the work in to get to that point again.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't want to propose to Gia again, because I fucking knocked it out of the goddamn park.
Yeah, sure.
But I put a lot of work into that, and it's like, then the pressure of having it, I'd have to up it. And that's always the thing, is the upping bit. Because if once you do it once, it needs to be even better than the last. And that's why Last of Us 1 and 2, I feel like Last of Us 2 kind of answered the issue you were having, Greg. Where it's like replaying Last of Us 1's never necessarily going to be as good, but 2 could be a whole new thing, add some extra levels. But guess what? That's a lot of goddamn work, and it took a lot of years to make happen. So yeah, I can see with things like that. Like any of the Kind of Funny live events, of course, I want to keep doing Kind of Funny live events till the day I die, because I love them. But it's like each one of them was a different experience.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I look back at KFL 1 and it's like, I loved that. I would never want to put in that much work and effort for that feeling again.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to think. I'm kind of with Andy on this one. Where I'm like, I don't know if there's something that I like.
But that's
there are definitely foods.
Yeah, that's like a different discussion when we're talking about putting in work to get something that was amazing, but it's like, fuck, that was a lot of work.
Yeah. There's a lot of those things. That's
that's KFA for me and Nick. It's KFA.
Sure. I was gonna say
this kind of spirals into something, and this is a hypothetical that, knock on wood, will never happen. Don't worry about it. But I often think of how do like a Groundhog Day idea, or you do the thing where you somehow go back to being a kid and like you're growing up again. I feel like that falls into this category for me of never want to experience it again. Not necessarily because it was so good. I mean, my life's great, don't get me wrong, but I mean more the fact that I think I would, first off, it'd be torture to be like a child and feel like you're an adult, but beyond that, even, right, like I'd be so afraid of changing choices that would then change the outcome. You know what I mean? Like I think about that, where you see movies where people celebrate that, or they don't go back fully in time, but like the idea of what you would do in that situation and how you would play your life differently or something like that. I feel that's more of a horror movie than it is a fantasy to me.
I have so many fucking.
I'm sorry. I was just so focusing on what Andy was doing with his desk that I was like, "What? Am I?
I've been standing a lot.
Sit down, Poppy.
Hold on. Did you say you have so many green teas under your desk?
Mike wants us to do a KFAF green tea ranking.
Yeah, ranking Arizona teas. We're gonna do it, but he shipped us a bunch of stuff, and I'm horrible.
In addition to the many other, I'm like, Mike, all right, this bedroom is just boxes coming out the wazoo.
Andy, like, for someone that didn't have context of the stream that came up on, all it looked like was
so much green tea.
So many green teas.
Maybe we're not sure what's happening.
Yeah, it's because like anytime I sit back down and I'm like, oh, the only spot for a giant box is underneath my desk, and it's a box of green tea. It's like a 24-pack or something.
So funny. You gotta hide that bad boy under the couch in the living room or something like that.
Yeah.
At some point, maybe next week. I need to look at the schedule to figure out if it makes sense. But I want to do a Kind of Funny podcast where the headline is Snowbike Mike, aka Mike Howard, and it's just the four of us. He's not welcome on the show. It's just the four of us talking about him. Because I feel like he has so much to be talked about.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I mean, listen, I could talk for probably 45 minutes straight on just the things I've learned about Snowbike Mike from the streams we do at night.
That's what I'm saying.
But
like, there's so much gold.
If you want gold, you have to do, we should absolutely do this. You have to do Snowbike Mike tells stories from the club. Because when he worked in clubs, like strip clubs, or like when he was DJ, he has gold stories from there. Did you know he has a friend named Pirate Pete? You do now. What does Pirate Pete do, Tim?
All right.
You'll have to wait and see.
Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do.
Steve, that's what it was.
At some point in the coming weeks, I don't want to commit to it because it's E3 and lots changing and blah blah blah. I want to do a kind of funny podcast episode where at least a certain amount of minutes are just the four of us talking about Snowbike Mike. But then he can listen the whole time. He just can't have any input. But then he can come in, then he can give his side of things, and then I need to hear all of the klube.
stories. We all talked about.
Don't shake your head at me, Miller.
We all talked about our old screen names and the origins of them on AOL, and his was Stripper Boy 92.
Yeah, it's great.
Stripper Boy.
He wasn't born in 92.
All right,
it wasn't his first one though.
It was Stripper Boy 90 or 90. Okay, I don't even know if it was a date of birth. It may have just been a number.
Dude, I probably won't be able to do it, but I thought it was so funny when I was listening to the Xcast and he was talking about his first screen name or whatever, and how his friend's mom had to make it because she had a credit card and they were at his house that I started calling him it, and I totally forgot about it. And I was typing a text to somebody else the other day, and I put in the right combo, and it fucking auto-filled all caps, whatever the fuck it was. It wasn't Stripper Boy. It was something ridiculous like that, but it was it made me laugh. I like this. If you are watching right now, patreon.com/kindafunny with your comments on Snowbike Mike. Remember, this will not be a Q&A with Snowbike Mike. This will be us talking about Snowbike Mike. So you need to write into patreon.com/kindafunny with your thoughts on Snowbike Mike.
I have 10 minutes on Fruit Roll-Ups alone on Snowbike Mike. Okay. His diet is that of a 6-year-old with a credit card. It makes no sense. I don't know how he's still standing. He gets no nutritional value whatsoever out of the food that he eats.
Well, he does drink every time he orders Chipotle. He orders an apple juice to go with it. So right there, he's getting some apple juice.
I still laugh when I think
about your camera turned off. I don't know if
Oh, what the fuck?
I still laugh when I think of him dealing with the upcoming tonsillitis that he went through.
He was super excited about it.
And he is streaming, not feeling good. Yeah, I'm feeling bad right now. Not feeling too good, but I'm feeling energized, right? Still feel good. Feeling a little sick though. And then goes on a break midstream and then hops into the Discord with the rest of the Squid Squad and is like, "Hey, Wash, you gonna keep on streaming? Can I raid you?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm about to head off." He's like, "All right, I wanted to raid you, man. I feel like shit, dude. I don't want to stream anymore. I feel awful." He immediately goes back on stream live. "Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I'm feeling great. Yeah, you know, I'm feeling a little sick, but I feel great."
Yeah, I love that was his reaction as well when he got that second shot. I was like, "How you feeling?" He's like, "I'm good."
Stop it! You're burning your podcast. We're burning the podcast. No, this isn't about Snowbike Mike now. That was your teaser. All right, the apple juice. That was your shot. Andy's story was the chaser.
An infinite.
Be a lot of her dance talk next week.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Next episode.
It won't be next week. Next week's E3. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with my camera, but next week's too crazy. But after E3, we will do this.
Cool. Start writing in now with your Snowbike Mike thoughts. Not questions for Snowbike Mike.
Thoughts.
They can be questions about Snowbike Mike. We can try to answer those, but no research will be done on them. It'll just be something that could happen. It might happen. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny podcast each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, coming to bullshit about whatever it is they want to bullshit about. But no matter what, we will make a podcast that will change your life, just like Maria Menudo said. If you like that, you can head over to patreon.com/kindoffunny, where, of course, you can be part of the show. You can get the show ad-free. You can get the post-show we're about to do right now. The show isn't stopping. Of course, you could be watching live like DJ Kento is, Mike L is, Demetrius Newell are. However, if you have no bucks tossed our way, no big deal. YouTube.com/kindafunny podcast services around the globe twice a week, often with a guest, but not right now while we all embrace each other, getting ready for E3 and what will be a crazy week and a half or whatever. Tim's gone. Tim, have you been bitten by a snake?
I have not been bitten by a snake. No, I'm gonna go pee real quick, but I want to give a shout out to Andy's face when you said Maria Menounos' advice.
Andy, I mean, you missed a podcast, and that's what happened. You know what I mean? Maria dropped some newbie information on us. I digress. We got a post show to do. So until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.